The Council will now consider draft resolutions L27 entitled Situation of Human Rights in the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. I give the floor to the main sponsors to introduce the draft resolution. The representative of the Czech Republic, you have the floor.
Thank you. Mr. President, on behalf of the co-authors, European Union and Japan, and also on behalf of our co-sponsors, I have the honor to introduce the draft resolution L27 entitled Situation of Human Rights in the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. We remain deeply concerned at the human rights situation in the DPRK, particularly at the use of torture and labor camps against political prisoners and repatriated DPRK citizens, as well as the humanitarian situation in the country. We also deeply regret the refusal by the government of DPRK to recognize the mandate of the Special Rapporteur. Mr. President, the draft resolution L27 aims at extending for 1 year the mandate of the Special Rapporteur. It also urges the DPRK to engage fully and positively with the UPR process in December of this year. It's our hope that the draft resolution will be adopted with broad support. The sponsors have held open-ended consultations on the draft, and the delegation of DPRK was kept informed of progress on the initiative. I would like to take this opportunity to thank Japan for the cooperation throughout the process, and also all that participated in our consultations. Thank you, Mr. President.
I thank you. I will now give the floor to the representative of Japan. You have the floor, Excellency.
Thank you, Mr. President. The government of Japan is deeply concerned over the continuing reports that grave, widespread, and systematic human rights violations persist in the DPRK, as is clearly shown in the report submitted by the Special Rapporteur. In addition, as for the issue of abduction of foreign nationals, the DPRK has not begun the re-investigation into the cases of abducted Japanese nationals, despite its commitment last August. Based on such reality surrounding the serious human rights situation in the DPRK, Japan has decided to co-table this resolution together with the European Union, as we did last year. We strongly believe that the Special Rapporteur mechanism is indispensable for cases of continuous and serious human rights violations to complement the UPR process. We are also of the view that the recommendations in the report of the Special Rapporteur serve as useful indicators or benchmarks for the upcoming UPR of the DPRK. Mr. President, this resolution is not for the purpose of denouncing the country in question, but rather to urge the country to engage in dialogues and cooperation with the international community, including the UN human rights mechanisms, for the improvement of its human rights situation. We sincerely hope that this resolution will be adopted by consensus. Thank you.
I thank you. We shall now hear from the concerned countries. I give the floor to the distinguished delegate of Democratic People's Republic of Korea. You have the floor, sir.
Mr. President, my delegation categorically rejects the draft resolution L27 submitted by the EU and Japan. First, the draft resolution is pursuing ill-minded political purposes. It is ridiculous to try to deny our socialist system by tabling a resolution that is full of distortions and fabrications. The United States, Japan, and some EU countries have long been engaged in hostility against the DPRK on the pretext of human rights. As for human rights violations that deserve denunciation, they are none other than the U.S. invasion of Iraq and Afghanistan and the civilian killings, Japanese crimes against humanity, such as 8.4 million forcible drafting and abduction, 1 million genocidal killings, and 200,000 military sexual slavery committed in Korea alone, as well as racial discrimination, defamation of the religion, and neo-Nazism in many EU countries. We would like to offer them a Korean saying that people in the glass houses should not throw stones, indicating that they should first look at themselves in the mirror. Second, the draft resolution is in contravention of the founding ideals of the Council. The purpose of the Council is to eliminate politicization and enhance human rights protection through dialogue and cooperation as exemplified by the UPR mechanism. The sponsors of the draft resolution continue to behave as judges on developing countries they dislike by resorting to country mandates. This practice will lead to bigger politicization in the Council, and its victim will always be the developing countries. The position on the draft resolution L27 will be a criterion to determine whether or not countries are really interested in eliminating politicization. We shall continue to respect international human rights instruments and do everything to faithfully fulfill our commitments and obligations as motivated by our independent belief and decisions without being dictated by anyone. The people in the DPRK shall continue to safeguard the ideology and the social system of their own choice and further strengthen human being-centered system for human rights protection. Finally, Mr. President, we would like to appreciate the support and solidarity extended so far by many countries to the DPRK in its endeavor to oppose unjust draft resolution of the EU and Japan, and we hope that the distinguished representatives of the Council members will strongly reject a confrontational draft resolution L27. I thank you, Mr. President.
I thank you. At the request of Cuba, the Council will now proceed to a recorded vote on draft resolution L27. The voting is closed. The results of the recorded votes are as follows: 26 in favor, 6 against, 15 abstentions. Draft resolution L27 is therefore adopted. Copies of the results of the votes will shortly be distributed. Thank you.